Good morning, everyone. My name is Andy Ernst. I'm the Propane Marketing Manager here at CHS. I want to thank you for attending our final webinar today. We will be talking about our propane-powered rebate program that launched a little over a week and a half ago. So we're going to start out with Kenton doing a little overview on what's going on with the industry, and then we'll get into a little more details about the program. So I'm going to turn it over to Kenton now.
All right, thanks, Andy. So we'll kind of get into the program. My name is Kenton Sonnenberg. I'm the Energy Equipment Manager for CHS, so I work with all of our petroleum products equipment. And we'll kind of get into this program by, first of all, starting out with just a little bit of an agenda. What we all want to kind of go through with you guys as this day kind of progresses. And just kind of a quick note before I'd like to throw out there is on your Skype link right below the presentation, there's an area where you can type questions in. Feel free to type in any questions at any point. We'll try to answer them, either via, just replying back to you or, talking about it as we go along with our presentation. So please utilize that source if you do have questions. Then to begin, so first of all, we're going to do just a quick industry update or show you what's going on in the industry. Then we're going to run into a program overview, and then exactly how the rebates are calculated, then how to get started, types of rebates available, program resources, and then next steps. So with that, we'll kind of start out with, where are we at today? We're seeing in the propane industry, the industry is definitely making a shift. We're seeing, more production in the United States. We're seeing a lot more exports heading out of the country as a lot of the export terminals are increasing their ability to export products. So what are we seeing in the actual U.S. propane shifts in demand? Our primary targets, which we've always used in the past, have been residential, agricultural, and industrial. But as you can see, those three markets are all in declines, and you can see the large decline in residential especially. And so where are we growing in propane? It's actually in the commercial and internal combustion engine. So we want to try to shift some of your thoughts on, how can we as an industry take advantage of some of that growth in the internal combustion engine. With that, we'll talk a little bit about supporting our industry, and I'm going to hand it off to Andy to kind of go through some of the details there.
Thank you, Kenton. So just to give you a little background on this program, when we started this and started looking at it roughly 9 to 12 months ago, our thought was, well, how do we help the industry with autogas? How do we help with infrastructure? And as we talked about it and looked at dispensers, we just realized that the opportunity to help our industry is so huge that we blew this out considerably. And as you'll see today, we not only have rebates available for autogas dispensers, but it's also for training, for grant writing, and a number of other areas. So what started out as kind of a narrow focus, as we talked to customers, as we talked to people in the industry, we realized that we needed to do as much as we could to help customers and to help our industry. So with that being said, I wanted to give a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about today. The first thing will be around the marketer rebates. So we have dollars available, and I would consider each of these a different bucket, and there's dollars available in each one of those buckets. That gives you a total. So in this case, we'll talk about there's conversion kits, there's funds available if you're looking at doing a conversion for like a bobtail. There's the next area we also have is for autogas dispensers, and we'll be talking about why we have different amounts for public versus private. Okay. We are getting some comments here that we don't have any sound. We'll be checking something here real quick. So we are getting some feedback here that there's no sound. We've confirmed that that's working okay. I would take a look at your speakers there, make sure that you haven't put anything on mute. It should be working okay. The next thing we will be talking about when we go over the review will be training and grant writing that's available. This is funds that is really intended to help our industry go after some of those dollars that are available from VW and from different associations or from DERA, which is, we'll get into that a little bit more later. There's funding available for if you're talking with one of your school districts. We have a pretty unique way of allowing you to use dollars either to offset some of your propane costs or to go and give money directly to your school, and we'll get into that as well. And lastly, we'll talk a little bit about generators and irrigation engines and some funds that are available there. So now we've want to tell you a little bit about how does this work and how do you figure out what you have available. The way it works is if you have been buying propane from CHS anytime beginning January 1st of 2018 and up through today, you would already have dollars available in this program. That is going to continue to accumulate until August 31st of 2020. The amount that you're accumulating is a penny per gallon. So in other words, if you were purchasing 1 million gallons from CHS over this last year, you would already have $10,000 in this program. If you purchased 2 million, you'd have $20,000. And that would continue to accumulate on a monthly basis. And again, we'll get into where you can go see this online and see what you've accumulated for gallons and dollars available for the program. The last thing I'd like to mention on this page is for those that have used our safety reimbursement program in the past, you're familiar with getting a check for whatever you've requested the dollars for. This program is going to work a little bit different in that when you submit your paperwork for your rebate dollars, it'll come across as a credit. The reason I bring that up is if you submit the dollars or the request, more than likely that credit will hit the next day. And so we'll be informing your account manager who will reach out to you just to let you know that that'll be hitting, but you'll just want to make sure that internally you move those dollars around. Otherwise, whatever additional invoices are coming in from CHS, whether it's propane or refined fuels, would go against that credit. So just a little paperwork to keep in mind. Again, if I could just reiterate, every marketer who's purchased any gallons in the last year would already have rebate dollars available for them today. So how do you get going? So we've talked how you calculate it. Next step is how do you use your money and how do you find out what you have available? What you'd want to do is go into your control room and click on rebates across the top. This is a new tab that came in there about 4 months ago. It was initially put in there for the safety reimbursement program, and now we've added in the propane program as well as far as for this Propane-Powered. So if you go in there and you click on Propane-Powered, you'll see a screen similar to this, and across the bottom there or in the middle there, you'll see it'll show the gallons you purchased and the dollars that you have available. Again, that will update on a monthly basis at the beginning of the month. So if you purchased, say, another 100,000 gallons that month, if you went in the beginning of the next month, you would see those purchases in there and you would see the total dollars you have available for the program. Along with that, one of the things that we really wanted to do with this was make it simple and have one place for you to go find all the information you want. So on the bottom of this page, you'll see that it shows it shows 5 links in there. One is a link for looking at the marketing book that goes into the details around the program. And we're going to get into all these links in a little bit, but there's another link in there that shows the terms and conditions and other links that show how to fill out a project plan. So now that you've seen what you have available, the next thing you'd want to do is click on that link that you saw at the bottom there for the terms and conditions. When you open that up, you're going to see something similar to what you see on your screen right now. It's a 2-page document. Very simple, very straightforward. It just outlines the program, saying that it's a penny per gallon and what type of equipment is available for this program. Once we receive that back here in the office, we will go ahead and update your account, and you'd be able to start using the dollars after that. So you've submitted that information or the terms and conditions, and now you've decided you want to do a project. So again, going back to that rebates tab, you would see across the bottom there's a link there for project plan. You'd click on that and you would open up a screen that looks similar to this, showing you this document. No matter what type of project you want to do, and we'll get into all the different options for that, you'd want to use this form. And there's a couple reasons we want to do this. One of the big ones is by filling out this form, you are locking in your dollars for the next 90 days. And that's really critical. We would hate to find out that you've purchased a dispenser and didn't go through the program, and you're thinking you got dollars there and they're not available. So this is a way for you to make sure you've locked in the dollars. And secondly, we want to make sure that you're successful with whatever you're doing. So if you're doing a conversion kit, for example, we want to make sure you're getting an EPA certified kit. If you're not getting a certified kit, you could potentially run into issues with your manufacturer's warranty. So fill this form out, and this would go to the Energy Equipment Group, who would reach out to you and work with you to make sure that you have the correct equipment and that everything is being done so that you're going to get your funding at the end of the project. Lastly, you've finished your project and you're looking to get your dollars for the project you've worked on. So you'd want to go in there, and there's an option for an application form. And when I say go in there, you want to go back to that rebates tab, and there's a link at the bottom. Click on that, and you'll see that link for the application form. Again, this is about a 5-10 minute 2-page form that you should be able to fill out. Once we get that, if it's early enough in the day, we would get that processed the same day, and you would see your credit hit by the next day. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Kenton, who's going to go into a little more detail around all of the different types of dollars available for each of the different buckets.
All right, thanks, Andy. Now we'll kind of get into some of the meat of the program, as far as what is actually available specifically for dollars and types of equipment that are going to be available for this particular program. The first one we're going to talk about is our autogas dispensers. We've spent quite a while just vetting dispensers that we use right now, and we've kind of landed on a couple of main manufacturers that we're going to work with that we know or feel confident meet any safety standards that's required by CHS and any communication requirements that we are requiring today, so that we're confident, when you guys are putting in dispensers, they're going to work. Also, on top of that, the vendors we use are, service and support. So, once we get them in place, we know there's people to call to be able to service any potential issues that might be out there, and kind of go from there. So with that, the ones that we've kind of chosen to run with are Superior Energies, and then also Westmore Industries. We're going to highlight the Superior Provens, and then also working with Westmore's commercial dispenser, plus also the Gilbarco Encore 700. With that, we're going to go into, what is actually available as far as funds are concerned. When you're looking at a public dispenser, and I threw this picture up here, this is actually the Proven 2000. It has a capability to take credit cards, and that's how we kind of set apart, public from private, is that the public ones can take like Visa, MasterCard, and you can do self-fill with these. So we're going to offer up to 70% of the purchase price of the dispenser, with a max of $30,000 per dispenser. Next, we have our private dispensers, because we also want to, if you are in an area that maybe has a school district or a small fleet that runs on propane, we want you to be able to offer, a dispenser for their location, so we can go in there and get the propane gallons. And so what we're looking at providing there is up to 50% of the purchase price, with a max of $25,000 for that particular dispenser. Then lastly, as we look at trying to build out infrastructure, one of the important things is going to be as we look at convenience stores, and this here is a Gilbarco Encore 700 model. It's essentially exactly like the ones you're going to see at the convenience stores, and we're going to offer you up to 70% of the purchase price with a max of $30,000. Now realize these are all per dispenser per site. You can also combine these because we have a total of $250,000 per marketer available for dispensers. So we've got some funds available there that we know is going to make a good investment for you guys in building out some of this infrastructure for propane-powered products. Now we'll move into the school buses and fleets and how we want to support those. Some of what we consider to be the low-hanging fruit and where we've seen a lot of success as far as propane-powered products is the school bus fleets. Quite a number of our states have already seen a lot of propane-powered buses enter into the state, and one of the main questions they're always asking, is first of all, where can we fill? So we're trying to handle that with our infrastructure or with the dispenser program, but also on top of that, as they look at purchasing school buses and as other fleets, maybe municipalities or delivery fleets are looking to add vehicles, if they're considering propane, how do we encourage them to go into it? And this is kind of how we're looking at doing it, would be through our program. And what we're going to offer is $2,500 per conversion for either a school bus or a fleet. So that could be like maybe it's a police squad car, maybe it's a delivery vehicle of some sort that we can kind of help provide assistance there. Then along with that, so we're offering $2,500 up to 10. So, and you can do any combination of buses or fleet vehicles or whatever works out best for your particular area. So if you're looking, it's a total of $25,000 in support for going out and talking to your fleets and trying to get them converted over to propane-powered vehicles. Now we'll kind of go into the marketer programs. And a big part of the marketer programs is we want to be able to, dare I say, walk the walk. And as you can see in this picture right here, this is a picture of it's a 2017 Ford Taurus that we actually use here at CHS. Our account managers, when they travel, will use this car when they're making sales calls. And then Andy and I have spent quite a number of hours in this particular vehicle as we went out and talked about promoting, propane-powered vehicles. And it's been a great billboard for us. It's amazing the amount of questions that we get as we pull into different locations with this. And they're asking us, does that really run on propane? How's it work? And we can kind of give them updates on how this vehicle runs and what we've did to go ahead and utilize this vehicle. So along with that, what we want to do is we want to help support you, the marketer, in promoting yourself and promoting propane powered. So we're offering a program where we're going to offer you up to $500 rebate for you to wrap your vehicle. Now we've got some estimates here of what wraps cost. So if you look at half wrap, ballparkish figure, right around $500 plus installation. If you want to do a 3/4 wrap, it's a little more expensive, so it's about $1,000 plus installation. And then CHS is going to provide you $500 of that to help you to get that on your vehicles to promote propane powered vehicles. Next, we want to help you get kits into your own vehicles. One of the biggest parts that we found is as you drive into a fleet and are promoting propane powered vehicles, and you drive up in a gasoline or diesel powered vehicle, that fleet is going to wonder, well, why aren't you guys running it? So we're encouraging people to consider getting some propane powered vehicles into their fleet. And how we're going to do that, financially at least anyway, is offer this $5,000 incentive to put a conversion kit in one of your vehicles. And it can go in a number of different things. It could be a sales vehicle, could be a pickup truck, it could be a service truck, even a crane truck would work for this one here. And because we see a number of if you look at pickups in particular, if you look at most 3/4 or 1-ton pickups as far as Ford and Chevy are concerned, most of them are reasonably easy to convert, and there's plenty of EPA certified systems out there that we can utilize for this particular program. Next, we also want to encourage you to consider propane-powered bobtails. As you probably know already, probably the most common one that we've seen so far is the Freightliner S2G. And what we're going to do is offer you a $5,000 conversion rebate, and we can offer up to 2 of those, so a total of $10,000 for you to put propane-powered bobtails into your fleet. Like I was mentioning, the Freightliner S2G is probably the most common, and it did have its issues in the past, but Freightliners did a pretty good job of solving most of those issues, and are very responsive to any necessary needs that we might have as far as getting anything fixed down the road. And so we're excited about what's happening with those guys. Another good option too is the Ford F750. There's actually kits available from Roush or from Alliance Auto Gas that would convert a F750 into a propane-powered vehicle. And just kind of a recapping once again, we're looking at up to 2 $5,000 conversion rebates for a total of $10,000. Next, we'll move into the residential and agricultural areas, and want to try to get into what we want to offer there. So as we're looking at, most of the products that we've talked to so far have been on highway type products. Now we're kind of going to off-road into the stationary areas. So here's what we want to look at. First of all, one of the things that is common today, or not real common, but there's a decent amount of availability, is the propane-powered generators. We're working with our preferred vendors in this particular area to help you determine what would work best for a propane-powered generator for your particular area. Then along with that is irrigation engines. We paired up with Husker Power Products probably a couple of years ago already, and are offering their EPA certified engines through our energy equipment department. And so what we would offer specifically is 50% of the purchase price of a propane-powered generator or a propane-powered irrigation engine, and then at a minimum, or up to 2 of those, so a total of $5,000 altogether. If you were looking at getting, maybe 1 propane generator and maybe 1 irrigation engine, or 2 of either, or it doesn't really matter. But that is what we're offering today. Then next, we're going to move into program support, and I'm going to let Andy talk to you a little bit about our grant writing.
Thank you, Kenton. So one of the things we looked at was, how do we take advantage of all the money that's floating around out there right now, especially with VW dollars. As you all know, there's several $billion that has become available as a result of the VW settlement. In addition, there's what's called DERA funding, and DERA stands for Diesel Exhaust Reduction Act. It's a federal program that's been around for a number of years, and this year alone there's $40 million available. And so, similar to VW, it's a program where if a entity takes a diesel vehicle out of commission and replaces it with alternative fuel, there's dollars available. So when you look at all these different programs, you begin to realize that there's a lot of dollars out there, and there's other industries like the electric industry and natural gas, which are a lot more organized and doing a lot of things to go after these dollars. And there's funding that's sitting out there that we're not taking advantage of. So what we came up with was, how do we partner with somebody that's already doing this and knows what they're doing? And we found Fisher Consulting, and they have over the years, in just DERA funding alone, have garnered $200 million for their customers in grants. So what we've done is added an additional part of this program where we'll pay up to $1,000 to have Fisher Consulting write a grant for you, or how to write up the application for a grant. And so, for example, if you're going after a dispenser, or you're going after conversion kits for a fleet, meeting with this person who would help you get all the documentation, and then in a day or 2 write up the whole application process and submit that for these various dollars that are floating around there. This is really, we believe, a golden opportunity for us right now with what's going on with VW dollars and with DERA, and there's just a lot of funding right now around for alternative fuel. Along with that, we looked at, for those not interested in doing the grant writing, of what other opportunities could we do to help support this. And I'm going to let Kenton talk a little bit about some of the training opportunities.
All right, thanks, Andy. As we talk about training, one of the big things that we've seen here in the recent past, anyway, as we try to grow out our propane-powered products, anyway, is training that's available. We're offering a program along with the grant program, so it's kind of an either-or. You can take the grant, or you can actually go to this route. But if you're looking for additional training, and as far as the dispenser is concerned, our manufacturer is willing to send a person out to your site, go through pretty much a full day of training, and that can be training on, filling. It could be troubleshooting. It could be as simple as trying to set up, any key fobs or credit cards, or being able to go online and download any transactions that might be within that dispenser itself. So we're offering that as part of this particular program. Plus any auto gas sales training. There's a number of different training sessions available, either offered through PERC or through ICOM or Alliance Auto Gas, that you could definitely take advantage of and utilize these funds. On top of that, identifying fleet sectors. It's good to know, who are fleets in your area that you're able to call on and could maybe talk to about propane-powered products, and we can get that information through our injection system providers. And then on top of that, any potential ride-alongs. If you're looking at having an event at your site and doing training and talking about, propane-powered products, we would support that as far as being a training need and using this $1,000 rebate to go towards that. So to kind of sum it up, it's $1,000 for either third-party grant writing or training. With that, we're going to kind of hand it back to Andy, and he's going to talk about a little bit more of the details.
So just to sum this up a little bit, there is I'm going to refer back to that rebates tab again. Across the bottom, there's a link there for the marketing book. If you click on that and open that up, you would see this page. I think it's on page 12 or 13 within there, that goes into a lot more details about this. But this is just a quick summary of everything we talked about today. As we mentioned, there's dollars available in each of these different buckets for you. And so whether you're looking for a generator or dispenser, there's dollars available for all these different projects. So we've talked a lot about what's available, how to calculate, what exactly is being offered in the program, and now we want to talk a little bit about how do you go in and find out what kind of support is available and what are the next steps. So what you see right now is I'm highlighting the rebate page again, and the area with the red box around it represents each of the different buckets that are available within that rebates tab. When you're looking on that page, what you're going to notice is for each of the different buckets, it's broken out by the dollars available and what you've spent. So in the example we're showing here, you see that this customer has $250,000 that they could potentially have for dispensers. They've spent zero. As you can see on the left-hand side, for all of these, none of the dollars have been spent at this point. As a customer uses the dollars, so let's say, for example, they do a marketer conversion kit and they spend $4,000 on that kit. On the left-hand side, that $4,000 would be in there, and then on the right-hand side, it would show that you have $1,000 left. So it's just an ongoing running tab that if you want to go in and look at any time what you've spent on different projects and what you have available, this is a quick way of doing that. Along with that, across the bottom on that same page, you're going to see these ovals, and what they represent is the available dollars as a percentage for each of the total program funds. So on the far left-hand side, for example, in this picture that you're seeing, it's the dispensers, and it's showing that there's 100% of the dollars available. As we move through this program, those will automatically get updated. So, and once we get below 50%, that green oval will turn to red, and that's just another way we're trying to help so that you can visually see that, hey, we're starting to use dollars up here. If I haven't submitted my project plan for a dispenser or what have you, you need to go ahead and get that in. And then and in doing that, you are locking in those dollars for yourself for at least 90 days. So kind of some final reminders and thoughts here. Again, if you're looking at using this program, all of the equipment would be purchased through the Energy Equipment Group. And again, this is around, we want to make sure you're successful, that you have the right equipment, and that we can also lock in those dollars for you, so that whatever you're planning to do, that I just highly encourage that first thing you do is take a look at your rebate dollars, and then that next step would be to reach out to the Energy Equipment Group and start planning what you want to do. In addition, as far as equipment, we are looking at only equipment to be part of this program that's purchased from January 1st of this year going forward. You know, one of the big goals for this program was, how do we help grow the infrastructure? So we don't want to be looking back 2 years ago at a dispenser that was installed 2 years ago and paying back for that. So really, again, the whole idea of this program was helping moving forward to customers to have infrastructure and resources to help grow our industry. As I mentioned earlier, the rebates will come across as a credit, and again, we will let your account manager know if you have received a credit, and they'll be reaching out to you to let you know to keep an eye out on that and move the dollars appropriately internally. Last thing to mention would be first come, first serve on the dollars. So, you know, we'll have a lot of information on, again, I would refer back to check out that rebate tab, see how much of the dollars are being used. But along with that, we will be communicating through various channels, whether it's the Market Pulse or through your account manager, letting you know if dollars are starting to go down, that, hey, you need to get out there and make sure that you reserve the dollars for whatever project you have in mind. We've gone over a lot of things today. In next steps, we are looking at 9 additional webinars, and each one is on a different topic. They start next Friday, and there'll be a notice going out either today or Monday talking about what those topics will be. So for example, next Fridays will be on Roush and what kind of opportunities are available with school buses. We'll do a webinar every Friday from 11 to noon Central Time, and topics will range from anything from grant writing to dispensers to even having a marketer that's successfully implemented a number of auto gas opportunities for themselves. So I would highly encourage you to attend those, and we will have a lot of information going on out about that. In addition, as I mentioned earlier, you do have that the link in the rebates tab for the marketing book, but we're also going to be mailing those out, so we should be mailing those out within the next week or two. Lastly, I would just encourage everyone on the call to talk to their state association about this program and also with PERC. And the reason I bring that up is we had an informal conversation with the Minnesota State Propane Association, and they explained to them what we were trying to do, and they really got it and understood that this was about changing the industry, and they went back and looked at some of their program offerings, and for example, they have now offering a similar type rebate for grant writing. And so if you're if you're in the state of Minnesota and you were looking at doing grant writing, you would actually have the whole thing covered for a project here in Minnesota. So again, I would just encourage everyone to reach out to your state boards and just say, hey, what can we do to help our customers, or help yourselves as far as coming alongside this program. My final comment would be, you have dollars out there. If you've purchased any gallons in the last year, you have an opportunity to use those dollars, and they're available for you immediately. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Kenton, see if he's gotten any questions, and see if he has any final thoughts.
Okay, thanks, Andy. Yeah, so I've got the question and answer box open, and if you have any additional questions, please throw them at me. I'm trying to answer them as quickly as possible as they come in. But anything that would be advantageous to the group, I will definitely broadcast out to the group and let them know the question, and then also, excuse me, give an answer to what that question might be. So right now, I don't have anything that that we really need to share at this point, but just want to let you know, if you do have any additional questions, please contact either your wholesale equipment or your wholesale propane sales account manager or account rep, or feel free to reach out to the energy equipment department, and we can help you, guide you through some of the answers that you might or the questions that you might have in particular. So with that, like I said, I'm going to leave the question and answer box open here for another few minutes. So if you do have any last minute questions, please feel free to drop me a note through that. And with that, want to let you know we certainly do appreciate your business, and want to let you know to have a good weekend. Thanks.